group will present a case study of global slavery. For my first question is how global slavery impacts to Qatar. It impacts by exploiting over 2 million migrant workers who make up 95% of the workforce, most of whom are employed in construction, domestic service, and security roles. Many face harsh working conditions, including passport confiscation with huge wages, long hours without rest, and death from illegal recruitment fees, conditions that align with modern slavery. Despite recent reforms, such as ending the kafala sponsorship system and introducing a minimum wage, enforcement remains weak. Many employers still exploit legal loopholes, leaving workers vulnerable with little protection. Beyond labor issues, global slavery in Qatar is also a financial problem. Exploitation is enabled by hidden money flows, such as under-the-table recruitment payments and unregulated wage systems. These financial networks make it hard to detect abuse or hold businesses accountable. In short, global slavery impacts Qatar by creating a system where vulnerable migrant workers are exploited economically and physically. With limited legal protection and little financial transparency, combating it requires stronger enforcement, transparency in labor practices, and action from financial institutions to disrupt the flow of money that sustain these abuses.
Modern slavery is still happening today. One example is Qatar treatment of migrant workers. Thousands of people from countries like Nepal, Bangladesh went to Qatar for jobs. But once they arrived, many had their passport taken. They weren't allowed to leave. This is because of the kafala system, which gives employees full control of a worker's legal status. They can stop workers from changing jobs or going home. Many workers live in crowded, dirty camps, and some were not paid. Others work long hours in the heat with no protection. Domestic work faced even worse: abuse behind the closed doors and no legal rights. The real threat of modern slavery is that it doesn't always look like slavery. It hides behind laws and systems that give employers too much power. Workers are trapped by rules that make it hard to leave or speak up. Many suffer in silence because they fear losing their jobs, being deported, or worse. This control and fear allow exploitation to continue unchecked. Because it's often invisible, it's easy for people to ignore or accept it as normal. That's why modern slavery keeps growing and why millions remain trapped.
Hello everyone, my name is Hoa Thien Tang, and today I'm going to present about the question 3. So what measures are being used to combat the threat of global slavery, and how effective do you think they are? So to combat the global slavery, particularly in the context like Qatar's kafala system, several measures have been implemented, although their effectiveness remains limited. So Qatar also introduced some labor reforms, including the abolishing the kafala system exit visa requirements in 2020. It aimed to protect workers' rights by allowing them to move and work within Qatar without needing their employer's permission. This reduced the dependency and improved the working conditions. The implementation of the minimum salary of 1,000 Qatari riyals per month, equivalent to $260 were also intended to ensure that workers has received a basic income that would allow them to live and work sustainably in Qatar. In addition, workers cannot change jobs without employer consent. The International Labour Organization has been collaborating with Qatar since 2017 to align the national laws with international standards, with a focus on transparent contracts and labor court, with the aim of protecting migrant rights, emphasizing fair wage and labor mobility. However, the measure often failed due to the weak enforcement and declining enthusiasm. Despite legal reforms, employers retain significant control, with practices like passport confiscation and wage theft persisting. Domestic workers remain excluded from the key protection and high recruitment fees that trap migrants in the debt bondage. Therefore, the effective change requires a strong and sustained enforcement. social-cultural shift in the perception of migrants as workers also have rise, as well as worldwide accountability system to address the systematic exploitation. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Archit and I will be addressing question 4, which is ethical concerns surrounding global slavery. Global slavery persists not only through direct coercion but through institutional silence and structural neglect. In Qatar, despite well publicized legal reform and across Lebanon, Jordan, and other Gulf states, domestic migrant workers remain subject to exploitative conditions under the kafala system. Although some protections now exist on paper, the underlying power asymmetries remain largely intact. These are not anomalies, but features of a system that grant employers disproportionate control over the life of workers. The confiscation of passports, unpaid wages, denial of rest are common. Professor Bales said, these workers are being treated as if they are property, the fundamental defining characteristics of enslavement. From an ethical standpoint, several key concerns emerge. First, the erosion of personal autonomy, where individuals are denied freedom of movement and meaningful choice. Second is dehumanization, the reduction of workers to economic instrument within a hidden privatized labor market. Third is systemic impunity. States delegate labor management to employers and agencies, evading accountability while rights violation continues. Finally, there is the issue of global complicity, where when recruitment agencies profit from deception, when consumers remain unaware, and when government prioritize trade over human dignity. Ethical responsibility is diffused, but no less real. Addressing these concerns require more than legal reform. It demands structural change, international accountability, and a recentering of rights in labor governance. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Raj Mahesh Lanjekar, and I am going to discuss the Modern Slavery Act 2018, which requires large businesses to report annually on how they manage modern slavery risk. It became a law on 1st of January 2019. This act was designed to increase corporate transparencies and improve human rights standards in supply chain. Companies must identify risk, document actions, and assess their effectiveness. But is it really working? The critics argue that it is not fully effective, and the reason is because there are no penalties for non-compliance, and many companies submit vague reports with large real action. Now let us look at Qatar. Ahead of FIFA World Cup, it faced intense global pressure for labor exploitation under its kafala system. Reforms were promised, including wage protection and more mobility for workers. However, enforcement in Qatar remains weak, and many workers still report unpaid wages and unsafe conditions. Unlike Australia, there is a little over civil or transparency or civil oversight. Uh, well, Australia's act has potential, but it lacks teeth. Qatar's reforms show good intent, but it struggle in practice. In both cases, strong enforcement is the missing piece.